You know, I actually agree with Ben. You know, the guy who's the locals, family, community kind of guy. I expected that kind of reaction from the left, considering a lot of them are mostly like welfare dependent and they don't like the idea of working, especially in the new generation, right? But the right, actually, no, I'm not really too surprised about the right. It actually does make sense. I grew up in a time where my family, when I was younger, my family was just right around the corner. And we had like 9 people in the community that I can actually financially depend on. You know, I had a person right next door, a person right next door to that person. Her family was right next door on this side. Then I had my uncle Ricky, may he rest in peace. I forgot his name. We used to call him the old man up the street. He would take me and my grandma to the grocery store in his old ass jalopy. Then I had my best friend Brandon, who lived a couple of streets down that way. Then I had my mama's doctor. May she rest in peace. She didn't live that far away from here. She was right around a couple of blocks down the street. And then we had the dude in front of my old elementary school, where that used to be an elementary school. I still got some people, but I think this kind of shows a lot of people are poor planners. When it comes to retirement, retirement is a plan, not a goal. And I have read a lot of comments down here that shows, and Eric pointed out on this fact when it came to the public education system, where he stated, ain't no way he's sending his kid to a school with a DEI initiative or some bullshit like that, where they spend more time learning their pronouns than learning how to do math and reading. You got 12th graders that read on the second grade level, can't even fucking read. Right? Can't read, can't do math. But what's everyone's fucking response? Pump more money into it. Excuse me. And like I said, it goes back to people don't plan for the future. You scramble for a job and you get rooted in that job. Like I'm reading comments where one dude is like, why don't you move boulders for like 8 to 10 hours a day and then come back? Like manually with your body or like with a machine? It makes your job a lot easier, by the way. And I feel like this is exposing like a lot of people on the right. Like they don't really depend on their family anymore. Or don't really trust their family. This is why you probably see a lot of people choose not to abandon the public education system, right? Despite the fact that your child is being incentivized to cut off their nuts and cut off their breast tissue. You still send your kids to these these indoctrination camps. Why? Because you're dependent on them. You're dependent on the public education system that's turning your kids into mindless fucking zombies, the same way that you're dependent on the social security system. Where some of y'all don't even get the usual fucking money in the first place, especially considering the fact that your money is long gone, right? That shit goes into the deficit. And then they take that money and put it somewhere else, like fucking Ukraine or the Palestine-Israel issue crisis. Or gender studies in foreign countries. Or studies where they study pigeons playing slot machines, some useless crap. Because once you put your money in the hands of the state, it's no longer your money, it's their money. They can do whatever the fuck they want with it. And at that point, when it's time to foot the bill, right? They got to get the money from somewhere. Right? That's why they increased the taxes on the people that are still working to pay you back. I actually agree with Ben on this one. I think a lot of people just don't plan the future. They get a job. Like you got people that want to be fucking their 20-year career fry cooks. You got people in blue collar jobs, right? There's even some people like in blue collar jobs, like they're carpenters and stuff. They plan for the future. I think the problem is a lot of people, and this goes back to the issue that the right sees, but they don't want to act. And this is like my biggest criticism of the right. You see problems, but you have no solution. Your solution is go back to church, the very institution that asks you for 10% of your goddamn paycheck every Sunday. But what is your economical solution? Economically, what plan do you guys have? You don't. You don't have one. You're dependent. You're dependent on a person like Ben Shapiro to make some kind of job where you feel as though, right, this institution can take care of you. So you're dependent on the idea of like a corporation or a job to pay your way. Or you're dependent on the state, which pisses your money into a fucking levy. But it'll get it back by taxation. I don't know. I feel like what Ben said, it exposed a lot of people. Like it really did. Because we need to get back to family. And the only way you can get back to family is when you stop being so dependent on the crumbs you get from your damn masters. Once we start doing that, that's when this whole issue stops.